If you're a Western hunter, I want to welcome you to the video that's going to change your life. Packs are one of the most important pieces of gear to us, and this video has had literally years of research into finding this setup, which I believe is the perfect setup. So stick around, we're going to dive into the how-to of how to put this bad boy together, as well as a long-term review of the things I like and the very few things I don't like. What's up, everybody? I'm Matt with Deer and Donuts. Thanks for stopping by today. Today we're going to be talking about my Franken pack. Now I already have a video out on it. I'll throw the link in the description. But we got a ton of comments on there about a little bit more detailed how-to on how to put it together. And some people reached out to us on Instagram to see how I'm still liking it. So this is kind of an update video on how to make it happen. And again, the things I like and don't like. Now in front of you sits an EXO MTN K3 3200 bag. And that bad boy sits on a Kifaru Duplex Lite Frame. Two completely different brands, but they work really well together. Now for those of you scholars out there, you probably already figured out, 3200 bag means 3200 cubic inches. Now what that means for you is it can be a day pack, it can be an overnight bag, it's really up to you, and that's the great thing about this. EXO MTN advertises that it's a 3 to 4 day ultralight pack, and I think you're really going to be struggling to get that. But I think 2 to 3 days is perfectly doable, and I use this as my day pack also. With the compression straps and everything, it cinches down enough that I don't think it's overkill. This is really a do-it-all bag for a lot of different scenarios. Now again, Kifaru Duplex Lite Frame, and it really lives up to its name. It is light, but it's also really strong, really sturdy, and we'll go into that in a little bit. But the big thing that it offers is this whole setup is 4.6 pounds for me is all. All right, now that we dove into some of the numbers, let's get into the how-to of how to set this up. It's actually really, really simple. So you have these straps at the bottom, comes from the EXO MTN bag, into these clips from the Kifaru frame. Super simple. I'm not going to get into a ton of detail about that. That's how a lot of packs are set up. That is how you're going to expand it, create a meat shelf if you need. But again, you just run it through the webbing. Nothing complicated about that. From there, Kifaru is nice enough to throw these little tabs on here. Now don't mind this one. This is just an extra one I threw on for an added level of security. But you need at least 4 compression straps of the guide lid frame. All right, they sell it on their website. I think it's under the accessories. It's like 25 bucks for 4 of them. Nothing crazy. It comes with K-clips, all right? So what a K-clip is, if you can see, it's just a clip with a slot in it. You run them in there, and then you got a compression strap. All right, so I run ones here and here. Okay, I did throw a longer compression strap that goes all the way around the bag, really cinches in if I got meat or anything like that, but that one's not necessary by any means. You do have ones further up too, depending on how you want, but what I noticed is the bottom one and the third one up are what line up perfect with this EXO MTN bag. So from there, you're gonna take your frame, flop it over, all right? You'll see EXO MTN, instead of having slotted standard, you can't change them ways of putting in your stays, they have this nice Velcro attachment, and that's really going to be a key here. All right, so you run your frame up in there. I'm going to unclip these so you guys can see clearly. You're just putting this down, popping it over, and Velcroing this bad boy in nice and tight. You're not going to have any issues then. From there, this is the only part where you're going to have to really decide whether you like this setup or not. Again, 4 points on the EXO bag right here. They usually come with these gray buckles. You got to cut them off. You got to move to the Kifaru buckles that come on this guide lid compression strap. All right, but again, same thing, slotted buckle. You're going to cut this off and just run the Kifaru one in, and then it just buckles in and cinches right down, and you're gonna have no issues with it. Like I said, that first and third one really line up perfect, and then I run a big compression strap across the middle. Again, not necessary. But That's really how you get the bag on. It's very, very simple. I don't know how this worked out that everything lines up perfect, but it's not hard to do at all, and it's definitely something in literally every hunter's wheelhouse. Now, the other thing I added was this lid, all right? The lid, again, same thing, comes with gray buckles, but you do have to cut them off. I think I picked up Amazon buckles for like 10 bucks. They've worked all right. I would probably recommend the Kifaru ones if you're just buying the guide lid compression straps anyway. But they've worked all right. Same thing, slotted, just run them through, call it a day. And that's that. You have this whole setup of 2 different companies, and it's ready to roll. It took me, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes. I think the hardest part was finding something to cut the buckles, and then using my wife's tiny fingers to get some of these buckles ran through the straps. But beyond that, it's not complicated, folks. Very easy to do. Now, before I jump into my long-term review, I gotta do the obligatory YouTube request for you to jump down and hit the subscribe button. And there's a reason we do that. For those of you that don't know, YouTube really throttles back the things that you can do as a creator for your community based on the number of subscribers you have. Another thing is, we're coming up on 500 subscribers. At 500 subscribers, we're gonna do another giveaway. Hopefully it won't be a KUYU gift card this time. Hopefully Tom or I will win. But either way, we're gonna give you guys some free stuff at 500 subscribers. So jump on down, hit that subscribe. Get that number up there so we can give you guys some free stuff. So now let's jump into the pros and cons of this pack setup. I'm gonna start with my dislikes because I'm really nitpicking and the list is much, much shorter. So the things that I don't like about this setup. So jump into my dislikes. Let's start with the bag. And my first dislike is this lid, all right? It's more of an aesthetic thing. It works perfectly fine. I don't want to take anything away from EXO. It's probably the way it attaches to the Kifaru frame that it's not meant for. But without the bag being completely full, it ends up on the front of the bag more so than the top. And it's just something I wish I could change, but overall, it's a very minor detail and it's an aesthetic thing for me. The one other thing I don't like about this bag is on the inside, there's no internal pockets or anything where you can really kind of separate your gear in this main pouch. It's the only thing I wish they added, but again, nitpicking. Move on to the frame. The other thing I don't like about this bag is the way Kifaru attaches their belt, all right? It's just kind of in there with some Velcro and it seems to slide around. If you're not paying attention, it'll run up your back almost. You kind of got to check it after some heavy loads. I won't say every time, but definitely after some heavy loads and make sure it's still in the right spot, which is a little bit annoying, but I will 100% take that for the comfort that this frame provides. That's it. I have 3 dislikes about this whole setup. It's, again, really, really well done. So let's jump into the likes, and we'll start with the frame again. There's not a lot of bells and whistles to a frame, but the big thing you want out of it is comfort. And that's what this does. It is incredibly comfortable, all right? We just went on, I think, a 5-day javelina hunt in Arizona. You're just carrying day pack weights, but by day 5, everybody's shoulders were sore, except for mine. Everyone else's. Eberly stock, Alps, I don't even know what Craig was using, but lots of sore shoulders, except for these bad boys. This is a really, really comfortable frame under any weight that I've thrown on it, and I cannot say enough good things about the comfort that it provides throughout a longer hunt. Those of you that have done a Western hunt, you know, by day 5, day 6, you're really dreading putting on a pack, and I haven't found that with this frame. All right, it's got a nice lumbar pad. The shoulder straps are padded, but they're not overly done to the point where they're getting in your way, anything like that. The belt is not crazy padded, which I actually like because it doesn't get in the way nearly as much. It's got some molly webbing. You can see I threw a pouch on here. I like it. Keep my gloves, keep my beanie in there so that it's always accessible, but it does offer some modularity to you. Now jumping over to the bag, EXO Mountain did an incredible job thinking this bag out, in my opinion. So let's jump into the things that I really, really like. My first and foremost thing for me is these long pockets on the side, all right? You still got your Nalgene pocket down here. You still got your main pouch, but these are perfect for those long, awkward things that you don't really know what to do with. For me, it's a tripod. I'm almost always carrying a tripod out here, and it's always kind of in the way. I either have to lose my Nalgene pocket or I have to take up space in my main pouch. Well, not anymore. Again, EXO Mountain created these nice long tube-like ones, and you can run a tripod, trekking poles, whatever you want, all the way down in, and it doesn't eat up the space of the rest of your pack. The next thing I really like about this pack is this front pouch, all right? It's separated from the main pouch. It's real thin, all right? And you can use it to store a lot of the stuff that's instant grab and go. Like I keep my warming layers in here, sometimes a bag of food, something of that nature. You're not gonna want anything heavy, I don't think. This isn't super strong material, but with that being said, it's great for quick access things. I've never lost anything out of it. It is a little bit thinner material, so you may be able to keep something like a raincoat after you get rained on or something like that. It might dry out. I didn't have that experience yet, so I don't know for sure, but just brainstorming some things. Moving on, the other thing I like is this roll top design. Now that's a personal preference. You're gonna have to make a decision on that. But I love roll tops for the fact that instead of the front opening ones that flop open and you're playing Tetris and then you're standing on it, you're trying to zip it up like an airline luggage thing, get everything in there. These roll tops, you just stand over it and stuff until it won't fit anymore. But again, EXO Mountain did a great job thinking this out. You can see a zipper that runs the entire length of this main pouch. You just unzip it and you can slide on in. So if you want to get something at the bottom, you just go in through there. You don't have to unload your entire bag. It's a really well thought out concept. Now the final thing I really like about this bag is right here. It is the bladder pouch. Right now I have my Crazy Creeks chair in there, but it is a lined bladder pouch that is basically its own separate compartment. And what that does is it lets you put your bladder in there. If it gets a hole, gets a leak, anything like that, it's gonna keep the rest of your stuff dry and clean, but also it allows you to almost run this as a wet bag. You can stuff wet clothes, dirty clothes, bloody stuff in there, and it's gonna separate it from the rest of the bag. It's a really cool, thought out design. So that's everything on my long-term review on the things I like and don't like about this frame pack setup. Now, if you guys are like me and you guys have been looking for a pack for a very long time, I'm talking it took me years. I went through Stone Glacier. I went through a completely EXO Mountain setup, Mystery Ranch, Eberly stock, a completely Kifaru setup. And finally, I stumbled across this as both an EXO Mountain and a Kifaru was sitting on my couch together. This is a way to look, guys. It's done an incredible job for me, and I have zero plans to move on from it. So I hope this helped, and I hope this gets you the pack setup of your dreams.